Welcome to episode 40 of the Chi-Town Shoot Wrestling Podcast. I'm Marcin, joining me in the sport, Chris, David, and Andres. We're coming at you from the heart of the wrestling world, Chicago, Illinois, bringing you the latest news, hottest takes, and all things WWE and AEW. Questions or thoughts, send them over to ChiTownShootPodcast@gmail.com. Without further ado, gentlemen, welcome to another episode. We just hit the big 40. Nice round number.
Nice.
We've been doing it for a year and a half, I think. And we're going strong, I gotta say. Our audience is built. It's slowly building up. Our TikTok's gotten really big recently. I feel like it's been like slowly like ratcheting up numbers. So that's been awesome. But how's everybody doing? Andres, we were just talking right before we started recording that you went to Los Angeles for the first time, you said?
Yes. Yeah, I went out there for Anime Expo, which is like the biggest like anime convention I think in the United States, I believe. Where E3 used to be hosted as well. Actually, E3 used to be there. So it's actually a pretty like historical building for me to go to because I always wanted to go. So it's kind of cool to be there and see like, oh, I went to where E3 used to be and stuff. But it was very overwhelming.
You went to the convention, so they held it where E3 was being held? That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, it was cool to go there finally to say I've been there. Cause I used to always see like the videos of like the older events there and stuff. So it's a lot of walking, but man, it was cool. It was a little overwhelming, but overall great time. Weather was beautiful. Saw a lot of cool things. Also explored a little bit within the area too. Great time all the time. I mean, I definitely want to go back and be more well prepared this time. But like, I mean, other than that, because it's my first time, it's always better when you go the second time because you kind of already have an idea what to expect. So,
where'd you end up staying?
I stayed at a hotel called the AC. It was like, literally like a walk to the convention center. Like literally, like you like step out and you make a right. It's right there. And then nice. They had a gym too that was like a couple like floors up, and then like the windows face the entire front of the entire convention area, which was really cool. So I can like, I was getting my lift in, and I was like, I saw all the people walking around and stuff. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, when I went to for E3, I it was not that close. We did some walking for sure.
Okay.
Not a couple blocks, maybe like 5 or 6 blocks. It was close-ish, but like, I mean, you were like right at their doorstep, so that's super nice. Did you end up going to Little Tokyo, the Japanese area?
Yeah, I did. The roommate I had, he offered to take me there, so he's like, "Let's go," because this is kind of like a thing you should check out while you're here. Actually, it was like the day before the actual convention started, so I went over there, I explored there. A lot of really cool shops, a lot of cool things I wanted to get, but like because I found this old retro video game store there too, and there's a lot of really cool things like imported stuff too. I was like, oh man, but it's cool though. But Little Tokyo was amazing. I loved it there. Ate a lot of great food too, honestly.
It's not so far from Skid Row either.
It is not. We actually bordered
it. If you take a wrong turn, you'll see some.
It was very noticeably different. Yeah, no, I did see Skid Row. We like bordered it, I think, because like you said, one simple wrong turn, you're in it, and
shitty ban.
Whenever I was in Little Tokyo though, it was usually during the day anyways, but I still saw, some sketch, here and there, but it's it's what it is. I was really kind of forewarned about that too, like, hey, you might see stuff, no big deal, but it wasn't. But no, it was great. I loved it. I totally want to go back again. So hopefully next year we'll see.
Yeah, I did go through Skid Row. I actually I was just kind of ignorant to like the borders and the areas, so I wasn't sure where I was walking in. But as I was like walking back, I think it was with Chris Powell because this was during Megavision. Because the only time I went to Little Tokyo was when we had dinner with Corey Marshall, who was the English voice actor for Ryo Hazuki, and he was in the area. And we went to this Japanese restaurant. It was just super surreal. It was just crazy going to a Japanese and with Chris Powell, and we were, I guess we just took like a wrong turn or whatever. I'm like, this place looks a little sketchy. I gotta say, But yeah, I mean, like I was never like in fear for my life. Either like, yeah, there are some people who are druggy-ish, but like they weren't really bothered, you know.
Yeah, no one bothered me. No one, no one caused any issues and stuff like that. You just kind of mind your business. They kind of mind theirs. But it was cool. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, but I did. My roommate though was telling me like, yeah, like we're going this way, we're gonna make this way, and then but we're not going that way. And then just by looking where he was pointing, I can kind of tell. I was like, yeah, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So,
Was there like
but it
that
was
one
cool to have
episode in
people.
The Simpsons where it's like it was Maggie trying to choose her family, and then she looked over to like
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Simpsons, and it's all like fucked
You-
up.
They're in the swamp, and then the
Wow.
Sanders family's like got a rainbow behind them and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
It was like that.
Yeah, basically.
Kind of, a little bit, yeah. There's just a lot of dilapidation too, from what I saw from the
Just
buildings, and I'm just like, oh,
bullets
okay.
and like people getting beat up and shit.
No, no bullets. Like there
Oh,
wasn't stuff like that. I mean,
Just needles.
I didn't even yeah, yeah, just needles and booze. Well, like when I
booze
was
for
there, I didn't
sure.
really see that. Like I know that the LA has a homeless population problem, but I don't know if they like swept them over to one area when he. But like I didn't see too much of it.
Actually, I will bring up something that happened in front of AX, like at the entrance. There was a lady who looked like fine, she looked like she had a job and everything. She was in a business suit and everything, and she was screaming at like literally everyone she could. Like she had her purse out. She was like not that old either. She was young. She's like, you millennials and stuff, and you guys are here and spending all this money, and the world is going to whatever, and you people are the worst. And like I don't know, just anyone who would like look at her back, she would go right at them and like swing her purse at them in their face and stuff. And I was like, what is happening? And this is just me walking, so like I kind of hear it, but I'm kind of like tuning it out too. So, but I heard her say something like, "Oh, you millennials and wanting to have fun and how you have all this money, but you're complaining about." I don't know. I just got lost. But I remember like being far and I could still hear her. I'm like, damn.
Like millennials, like girl, like a lot of millennials are their mid to late 30s, early 40s. Like I think you're trying to scream at Gen Z or Gen
Yeah,
A
like you're
Alpha
being
at
kids
this
or
point.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You don't know what
Yeah,
she's trying to yell at.
yeah. I mean, she
She's
didn't.
clearly out of it.
Yeah, she just thinks something's wrong, and she just wanted to swing her purse in any direction she could swing
That's
it.
LA for you.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
yeah,
what I was
it's a big
doing.
city. You're gonna have a variety of people in the city, and
You don't see
honestly,
that in Chicago.
yeah,
You
you
do.
got yeah, you do. Yeah, there's this okay,
Gonna say.
last story before like we go into wrestling. But yeah, if I take the metro into work, if I go into downtown, there's this one guy who's there every single day, 24/7 with he's like this homeless guy, I think, and he has like a sign like you literally like if you think of like conspiracy theorist person, like he checks every single box. He has like a sign that
Oh,
says the FBI daily rate me and like on his sign, and then he's got like Joe Biden did this and this hat. Like he had like everything like you can think of. It was like an on there. I mean, the guy, if you think conspiracy theorist nut, like this is what this person would look like. And he's there every time I get off Union Station. So it's nothing unique to LA because it happens in every major city. But yeah, without further ado, what a segue.
Wrestling.
Speaking of crazy gimmicks and interests, our show is all about. We did a gimmick episode last year, probably around. It was actually around Halloween, not like that week of Halloween because David was wearing the Rey Mysterio mask, and we were talking about like the best of gimmicks. So our main conversation is going to be about I call it the gimmick graveyard because these are gimmicks that did not succeed and they're better left off dead. But before we get into that, that's our main conversation. I did want to start with our first story, and that involves MJF and his conversation about saying it's a smart business by WWE to run against AEW. So, as of this recording, All In already happened. Saturday night's main event happened. Evolution is about to finish. And basically for All Elite Wrestling, they held, I think it was their biggest event in North American history with All In.
Yeah.
They did Wembley, but like this All in Arlington, Texas, I think was their biggest event on U.S. soil, which is very impressive.
Mhm.
And this entire past weekend was chock full of wrestling. Like there was this one person who had like was it Ralph eating the slime or gruel or whatever it was? Well, there was this gruel, and that was basically wrestling fans this weekend because you had All In on Saturday. You also had NXT Great American Bash on Saturday, and then on Sunday you had WWE Evolution. So it's chock full of wrestling. Oh, also, did I say Saturday night's main event? I mean, it like Saturday was huge with wrestling events. I mean, there was like no room to breathe. So MJF spoke to Scott Fishman of TV Insider, and he gave his thoughts of WWE basically running it up against AEW All In, and this is what he said. He said, "You mean shows that are running at the exact same time as us, even though they claim we're not competition? How do I feel about it? I think it's a smart business practice. I give jolly old Saint Nick and Trips a whole lot of credit. At the end of the day, if you can stomp out your competition, you're doing what is necessary. Lord knows I would. Everyone is judging them for it. I think that's silly. Don't judge them for it, but also don't be stupid. They're not doing this by happenstance. This isn't circumstantial. None of it is. I agree. The difference between me and everyone else, though, everyone else is, even though I know that, I'm not going to pretend that is not the truth or going to stand here and pretend that's not an incredibly intelligent thing to do. I would stomp on anyone's neck if it meant I would get ahead. I've done it a million times in my career. That's my thoughts on that. So, I mean, I don't think anyone is stupid. I think they knew that AEW was going to make this event, and WWE plans out their calendar too. They know when AEW is happening. They want to stack up that entire weekend with shows. And I don't think it's happenstance either. I think they just wanted to try and prove a point, you know. But MJF called WWE's decision to run shows against AEW All In smart business. Do you guys agree? Do you feel like, is this competition or sabotage, or is it just the nature of the wrestling industry? Chris, what do you think?
I mean, it's definitely it's either bullying, like they're like, oh, well, we're just gonna do this counter programming thing, or they legitimately see them as some kind of a competition thing, so they feel like they need to do counter booking or whatever. But it's definitely deliberate. That we can say that it's not like, oh, we're just gonna put it, pay-per-views or whatever on a Saturday, and we had no idea that AEW had their biggest pay-per-view on the same day or whatever, right?
Yeah, I didn't know. What a coinkydink.
What's an AEW?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would, just for the record, I mean, I think All In blows like blew Saturday Night Main Event away, because that was super whatever,
I mean,
super meh.
To be fair, I hope so, because All In is their WrestleMania, so it shouldn't. I don't think Saturday Night's Main Event was. I mean, like, it's also a smaller show too. For one, they have like 3 or 4 matches, and All In had like 10, 8, 10, something like that. I mean, it was a bigger show.
Shoot, I'd go a
Bigger
step further
matches.
and say it was better than WrestleMania. God damn it! For
41,
sure.
Better than this year's.
Yeah,
Wow.
It was
I
better than
agree.
41.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It was better than 41. I watched it. As of this recording, I watched it the day after. And yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I skipped 0 Hour, but I watched most of the actual show, and I mean, and each match got like, because like even in Evolution, they get like 15, 20 minutes. Some of these matches in LN got like 30, 40 minutes, for matches. And Chris, you were saying in the chat, like, you never got bored, because like if you click on the AEW streaming link, that shit says like 8 hours and 30 minutes
Mm-hmm.
for streaming. Now I'm sure
It's a
some of
work
it was a
day.
little bit of pre-show, and there was a decent chunk of 0 hour. But even if you shave that off, I think it's still like 6.5 hours of content.
It beat
And yeah,
Mania 35 as longest pay-per-view.
really?
Yeah.
Ah, man. So I'll say this. I think my critique is still like, okay, so it didn't feel like that. And if you can pull off a show like that in 6.5 hours and you can keep me interested, great. But I still prefer if it was if you divvied it up. And I don't know if AEW will ever be like, hey, AEW All In night 1, night 2. I don't know if they have. Maybe they do. Maybe people will pay to go both nights, but I still prefer splitting up a giant match like that for 2 nights personally. But I mean, they did it this year, and I'm pretty sure they also did it last year because last year didn't feel as long either, and the length was pretty similar. Um, but David, I guess let me shift it over to you. Do you feel like this is smart business from WWE's perspective? Do you feel like it's competition? Is it sabotage? Is it just the nature of the wrestling industry? What do you think?
I think it's just the nature of it. Because, I mean, most of the time, AEW is really going against NXT.
Right.
Yep.
And that's good for NXT. That's good for them to, like
You're
if
talking
you
about
ever,
their PLEs, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you ever watch, like, a lot of, like, Monday Night War stuff, it's always like, oh, we had the other stuff on to fuel us to go out there and do better and things like that. So
Right.
I think from that aspect, it's fine. And I think if AEW is going to do an afternoon show and hit it out the park, and then you're going to put on AdFest Saturday night's main event, then it's like that's just what you want to do. I hope. Like, I didn't get to watch Great American Bash, and I hope it wasn't that infested with ads.
Yeah. I mean, for Great American Bash, I mean, I want to also preface this is that Saturday night's main event is a show on like Channel 5 on NBC. So it's different from like a thing you pay for or a PLE that you pay for on Peacock. You know, they'll
Right.
still have like their sponsored stuff, but the reason that Saturday night's main event had all those ads
Oh
is
no,
because
that was terrible. Like the NFL and NBA don't even have it that bad.
yeah, I mean, but
Okay.
yes, to your point, the amount of commercials in between, and also
Yeah.
like during that Goldberg match, and also, and again, like we made this meme on a social media channel, but like Goldberg was having his like farewell retirement speech, and then that gets cut off by I don't know, fucking Wegovy or Domino's or some shit like that, you know?
Uh,
Like
So
mid speech, and I don't even think it went
yeah,
back, or
he
maybe it
barely
did.
started his speech and then it cut off. But yeah, I think they went back, but then it also didn't like you didn't get the entire speech day, so that sucked.
but yeah.
Especially yeah, go ahead.
Oh no. I haven't got to watch Great American Bash yet, but I think it's fine because there are people that are invested in NXT that won't watch AEW.
All right.
Uh, I'm gonna watch AEW every time they're against NXT.
I mean, like you know, with
Like,
All In,
Hell
I mean,
yeah.
like for me, like my constant issue is the sheer amount of wrestling that happens. I do also having a main job and doing all like and just having enough time in the day to watch all the wrestling content. Like for me, it's impossible. Or it's possible, but there are certain aspects of my life that would be diminished if I just focus on wrestling every single day because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if you want to watch it all, you need a lot of time to dedicate, you know. So I try to focus, and I've said this before, I do Raw, I do Dynamite, I do SmackDown. I catch Collision highlights. I don't watch Collision live. I catch Collision highlights on YouTube, and then that's it. And then there's you know the PLEs and that kind of stuff. Um, but but yeah. So Andres, what do you think? Same question as the other two. So he said this is smart business. Do you agree? Do you feel like it's competition or sabotage? Do you feel like it's just the nature of the wrestling industry?
I feel like it's competition. I mean, I do think WCW kind of did the same thing too, right? With WWE F in those days, right? And they kind of have some shows
They've
like
all
cross
done
each
it to
other.
each other.
Yeah,
Yeah, they've
I
all
think
done
it's a
it.
good. Yeah, I think it's a good thing for business, but it's also a rivalry thing kind of thing. Yeah, it's a bit overwhelming because I think even versus those days, we have a lot more wrestling now on TV, but
Oh yeah,
a lot more, like double, literally. So
100%.
I do think it's a smart practice. I think it kind of inclines people more to pick now where they want to put their viewership and their money and stuff.
Hmm.
So I granted both companies like I think they're both doing pretty well. AEW I think is getting stronger too a little bit. They kind of had like a slope, but I think they're kind of on the up and up. And I think even regardless if they're going head to head with WWE, they're still producing good shows and still getting good viewership. And they had the biggest turnout of All In ever. So far it's good. I definitely think as a business practice though, yeah, it's just the nature of the beast too at the same time.
Yeah. I will note that this is the biggest American soil audience because Wembley was like what 50,000. It was like double.
70?
But huh?
Yeah, like
Wasn't it
well,
like 70?
whatever the
Maybe.
tattoo was on Will Ospreay's leg.
Yeah,
Yeah,
someone
whatever
pulled up Will
Osprey's
Ospreay's
tramp
tattoo.
stamp says.
It was the
Yeah.
bloated
was.
number though. I think it was like 80,000 something or something like that. But it was actually 70.
Yeah, so he got that tattooed. But yeah, this is the biggest like American. And I don't even know what maybe it was like 26, 27,000, something like
Yeah, it
that.
does, man. Something like that.
But I mean that's like great numbers. Like in the United States, like we've had these conversations about finishing audiences and how they had bigger arenas and things like that, and tarped off because Tony Khan wanted to still book the arena, but he couldn't fill the thing, and then they moved to smaller arenas, and I did think it helped. But like having this like giant show with all those people in there, because like this All In basically felt like a classic WrestleMania 17 or 18, where they did have around that many people. Um, and yeah, I mean, the show was great. Like it was 6.5 hours long, but it didn't feel. And for my own opinion, I do think that it is smart business because I think we all agree, like competition is good, and I think it's fun to compare to Jab to have like some friendly rivalry. Because we all like seeing wrestlers jump from one brand to the other. Like I thought it was cool that Mariah May, went to NXT. It's cool to see that kind of stuff, and it's cool to see like vice versa, like a CM Punk or somebody else go to AEW or a John Moxley, like people that you see on WWE TV, and now all of a sudden they're in a new environment, holding a microphone with a different initials on it. Cool. It's interesting. It keeps things fresh. So I'll ask one more question when it comes to this story, and then we can move on. So, do you feel like? So we say it's friendly competition, and we think it's good. Do you feel like should AEW feel threatened by WWE stacking the weekend with like NXT and these kind of shows, or does this move? Do you feel like it validates AEW and their growth as legitimate competition? I guess anyone can.
I'd say
Is my camera freezing, man?
it should be a compliment to them. I would say it's something that it legitimizes them. I would say more so because WWE feels like they need to do some kind of a counter booking thing. So it's an acknowledgement. So I would say yeah, it's like a badge of honor. I would say.
Yeah.
Real
Andres,
quick,
what
is
were
the
you gonna
camera
say?
frozen again?
Yes, your
Is-
camera did freeze. Yes.
All right, hold on.
It's okay. David, did you have any thoughts on that question? Do you feel like this they should be threatened by WWE stacking this weekend, or
There
do you
you
feel
go.
like it validates them as a company?
I think it validates them, and also like for all of them, it's like it's really a good move because nowadays it's like if you're gonna watch a pay per view or something like or PLE, like most people request the day off, so they're gonna be sitting there watching wrestling anyway.
Right. I
I
agree.
think so yeah, I think it just works out for them. It's not like they're running all in across the street from SummerSlam or anything crazy like that.
Yeah, or like Tank showing up to WCW down the street because
Yeah.
they
Right.
had a show the same day in the same city. Honestly, I feel like they should do that. I would like one. No, do it more than once, but I'd like for them to just like have booking just land in the same city. Because WWE will, let's say WWE gets Allstate Arena, and then AEW gets the Aragon Ballroom again. Because I don't think they could do United Center again.
Now
They could
Arena.
do now
Or no, Wintrust. Sorry, the Wintrust Arena, or the Now Arena. Yeah,
or the
whichever.
Wintrust. Yeah.
But I guess I honestly don't know, like, if we look back at that like Monday Night Wars episode with the Tank, we don't know like how far those arenas were from each other, right? Because it's like if you take a Tank from like from Rosemont to like downtown Chicago, you're gonna have like an hour and a half drive in rush hour. But I guess, I mean, that's what vignettes are for, and segments and camera work. So you can make it work, but that'd be cool. I would want to see that. I would definitely want them to do something similar. But as long as Tony Khan has money, I want him to keep making wrestling, and he put on a wonderful show. I just want that now to be reflected also in the day-to-day. And WWE, I feel like for me, it's the programming is good, but it's not like knock your socks off great. So there's nothing wrong with being solid all the time, but I think there's a difference in build-up, and I hope, like, I mean, it's like the middle of July right now, and they literally have like 3 weeks before SummerSlam to build up their 2-night match card. This is the first year that they're doing a 2-night SummerSlam, so I'm really curious to see what that looks like. But yes, please, more competition. Give me more competition. But with that, we can move on to the next story, and this kind of ties into this 4-day or 4-event, 2-day extravaganza of all these events. We had WWE Evolution that took place this past Sunday, and before the event, Charlotte Flair had an interview, and she talked about being optimistic on the possible Four Horsewomen reunion. So for those who are uninitiated, who don't remember how the Four Horsewomen came to be, so and their history, so February 11th, 2015, they faced off in their one and only Fatal 4-Way bout at NXT Rival, I believe it was called. And at the event, Sasha Banks, who is now Mercedes Mone, would take the victory and the NXT Women's Championship from Charlotte Flair. So Charlotte recently interviewed for the Players Tribune, and she believes that the Four Horsewomen Fatal 4-Way bout will still happen in the future. And this is what she said. The Four Horsewomen. The thing about the Horsewomen is we never even did the match. Me versus Mercedes versus Becky versus Bayley on the main roster is still to this day probably the biggest money women's wrestling match that you could book. And I do think one day it'll happen. But I also think the fact that it hasn't happened, and yet we're all still so intertwined with each other's careers, it just speaks to the uniqueness of our impact and our connection. It speaks to the way that while there have always been cool stories to tell within the Horsewomen, the coolest story has always been the one of the Horsewomen. So Charlotte continued talking about her relationship with the 3 other women. We've definitely had our ups and downs over the years. I won't pretend we're best friends or that we're all even friends at the moment. I won't pretend there's a 4 Horsewomen group chat I'll send this article to when it publishes. And thinking about it that way, it does make me sad sometimes. But I also think that's part of life, you know? Especially at the highest levels of professional competition. And on a professional level, the respect between the 4 of us is absolute. And the bonds we share are effing indestructible. There's not another person alive who knows what we've been through as a group or what it's taken for us to all still be active and to all still be at the top of our games as women working in a business that's still learning how to treat women. I have a different, perfect chemistry with each of them, and if I wrote about them individually, I'd be writing forever. So instead, I'll just say this one thing that is very meaningful to me and that will always tie them together in my heart as a trio. I grew up in wrestling because of my dad. I got into wrestling because of my brother, but I fell in love with wrestling because of the Horsewomen. I fell in love with wrestling because I fell in love with Becky, Bayley, and Mercedes as wrestlers, and nothing will ever change that. So I read this earlier in the week, and I thought that was great. I thought it was heartfelt, and I do remember, like, this was what, 2015, 2014, something like that, when the Horsewomen, or the Four Horsewomen, were on the main roster. Like, I saw glimpses of NXT and their matches there, but I didn't really get a good taste of the Four Horsewomen until when they debuted on the main roster. And, you know, just seeing them, you know, from the beginning, and like what all four of them were able to pull out in their careers I think has been astounding. And there was this one interesting piece of information I pulled from that interview, and I want your guys' opinion. So she says that the Four Horsewomen Fatal 4-Way is still the biggest money match in women's wrestling. David, do you agree? And is there anything today that could rival it in star power or legacy?
I'd say no. That's it. Like, I agree. Nothing can really, like, what can you book to keep up with that? You really can't in terms of like a draw. Like, that could have closed the Mania.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put Ronda Rousey in there instead.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be a great, like if they keep doing Evolution, which I think they should do it, like, if it's not July, because I think June belongs to Money in the Bank, so do July, or switch them around, whichever. But I think Evolution should be a permanent staple in their Healy rotation going forward. I mean, imagine like doing an Evolution, and I bet you money if they had that as like the main match card, they can book a bigger arena than what they did, and they could sell it out, in my opinion. I mean, just purely because of all this star power in that match with Bayley, with Becky Lynch, with Mercedes, who's in AEW. So getting this match will take some maneuvering, some contract renewal, some different feelings of like someone like Mercedes in her career and where she wants to take it. But Chris, what do you think? Do you feel like this match is still the biggest money match in women's wrestling? And is there anything that could rival it, in your opinion?
Like, maybe if you got Saraya versus like Rhea Ripley or something, you got her on the roster or something like that. But I think there's just more star power in the ring with the four of them. But so, I mean, to be honest, yeah, I would have to say that specific the Four Horsewomen match would be the money match for sure, no doubt. But
It's the match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that match would be. Do you think? Let me ask you guys this: do you think Dave Meltzer would give it 5 stars
Yeah.
if it's in a WWE ring?
No, I mean, like, he's obviously like a hyper fixated autistic dude or something. Like, if it ain't Japanese, then it ain't working, brother.
If
Like,
it
it
ain't the Tokyo Dome, it ain't good enough.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, he would not give, like, I mean, when was the last time he gave a WWE match like 5 stars?
I think it was recent.
I think there was. It might have been like a Gunther match from like last year or something, or it was pretty
Was it
damn
5 though? I feel like it's like it's always
yeah,
like
I don't know if it was
4.75 or something.
Yeah, it might have been like 4.5 or something like that. But I mean, he's giving them high ratings. I think the frequency has increased from previous years, but I digress. I don't want to turn it into a Dave Meltzer 5-star rating conversation. Andres, I guess same question. Do you feel like this is the biggest money match in women's wrestling? Do you agree? Is there anything that could rival it in star power or legacy?
I mean, when you put those 4 in the ring, it's kind of hard to be like, not that WB doesn't have really great talent now, and like built up legacies coming, but when you have those four specific in each corner, it's kind of hard to like really see if it's been done after that. I don't think so personally. No, nothing at least comes to mind. Like if we made like a dream match now with the current roster, I don't even know if it even equates to that. And we couldn't use those four either. I don't know.
I'll say I do think that okay, so I'll say this. So I do think this match is bigger, and I feel like if you do an AJ Lee versus Ripley match, I think it'd be pretty damn close. I'll say that. No, you don't think so?
AJ Lee like who else?
I think it'd be pretty
exactly.
close. I think
Who else?
What do you mean?
Wait, I didn't even hear what you said. AJ Lee and who else?
Oh, and Rhea Ripley.
Oh,
AJ Lee versus Rhea Ripley.
But you wouldn't want to have like it be a 4-way too. At least you have more star power to work with. So versus the Four Horsewomen.
Well, I guess the question was in terms of like the biggest money match in women's wrestling. My argument is that I feel like Rhea Ripley versus AJ Lee can potentially draw about as much money as the Four Horsewomen match, in my opinion. And again, I don't even know if they would match it, but I think it'd get pretty damn close. So I'm just trying to, play devil's advocate here. But I feel like that is potential. And I don't know what happened during Evolution. It's the one main event, and don't spoil it if you're watching it, David.
I stopped watching.
Okay. But yeah, so I feel like that might rival. So let me ask you guys this, another follow-up question. And then I'll throw it to David. Why do you think WWE never pulled the trigger on a Four Horsemen Fatal 4 match on the roster? Do you feel like it was a missed opportunity, or do you think they were just still waiting for the right time, and then life happens, this one gets, disappointed, and they leave the roster? What do you think?
I think it wasn't time. I don't think it was something that you were supposed to like. I wouldn't. If it didn't happen after, like, if it happened before, I should say, like 2020-ish, then it was probably like a wasted opportunity. Unless, like, it's one of those things that should only happen a couple times.
Right.
So it could have happened by now, and it would have been good. It should have happened at the Mania that they let Ronda Rousey be in. I think that was the missed opportunity, and I think ever since then it didn't really matter because all of them kind of like done their own thing. Like Mercedes and Bayley were a tag team for a while. They had the belts for a bit. Like all that type of stuff. Everybody's one on their own. Now if they do it, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
But it's not like something you play often.
Chris, same question. What do you think?
What was the question again?
So, why do you think WWE never pulled the trigger on the Fatal 4-Way match on the main roster? Was it a missed opportunity, or do you feel like it was still like waiting for the right time?
I think it was kind of like waiting for the right time, I guess. Maybe they're trying to build it more, and stuff happened, and then it just never happened.
Yeah. And I mean, I agree. I feel like when they debuted, I mean, I guess it was like 2015, 2014, something like that. They each had to build up their own star power on the main roster, and I feel like the amount of time it took for each one to become a main eventer in the eyes of fans varied, and for whatever reason, each storyline kind of like went its own way. I know that 2018, 2019 is like the infamous like WWE kind of sucks right now. That's when AEW came in, and you had this entire, factors to consider. And, maybe, I mean, I guess during that time you would have wanted to do it because you wanted some additional star power. But, it didn't work out. But I still personally believe that it'll happen, and maybe it'll be after Mercedes, finishes her contract with AEW, and she feels because she left when it was still a Vince McMahon era, and I feel like with the different landscape, she might change her mind. So, Andres, last question for this segment. If the match does happen one day, what do you think is the perfect stage for it? Do you think it's WrestleMania, SummerSlam? Do you think it should be for a title? Or do you think it should, like, do you feel like the legacy enough is good enough, or should it be over a title?
I definitely say it should be a Mania. Definitely like night 2, I would say. Not even night 1. I would probably give it up to that point. For a title too, for sure, I would definitely do that. I just don't know like what though. Like, I mean, I definitely say it would be for the main belt, but like at the same time too, like I do think an opportunity was missed, but I do think they can still clinch on that too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just we were talking about if it was a missed opportunity, but I do think obviously if Mercedes ever came back, and I do think she will, honestly, under the new regime. Yeah, but main event for sure, WrestleMania, for the belt. And maybe there's like some other stipulation because who knows? Maybe by the time this even happens, maybe some of them are talking about retiring. I don't know. I know Becky was talking about how she's a mom now and she's not too sure like now how things are going to go for herself, and maybe others may have different plans in their future too. So that could also be a big motivation for them too when they realize, hey, like we're not really going to have much time now to we gotta kind of pull the trigger on it now, so we gotta really get this going.
Right.
So yeah, I think a WrestleMania main event for sure for the title.
Yeah, I definitely think it should be a WrestleMania main event. I don't know who should be holding the belt. I guess that doesn't point. Let's just say Sasha Banks holds the belt, and she gets it back. I think if they do have it at WrestleMania, I think it should main event. I mean, either night 1 or night 2 should be a main event because I do think it is that big of a match to put on as a main event. I think it deserves it, especially if they only had it at NXT. Like that'd be crazy. So with that, I think we can move on to our main conversation. And the main conversation, we had this conversation last year, right around Halloween. Costumes, crazy stuff. Why not gimmicks? Why not have a conversation about gimmicks? And our focus then was primarily about our favorite gimmicks. And today's conversation is about the worst gimmicks ever. The worst gimmicks that we can think of that leave an impression in our brain, not because they're terrible, or ones that are pretty forgettable. But if we think about it, damn, how shitty was that? So this main conversation is all about the gimmick graveyard. So let's start with this, and I'll give it to Chris. What makes a wrestling gimmick fail? Do you feel like it's the performer? Is it the idea behind the performer because of creative? Is it the timing? A mix of everything? What do you think?
I think it's the idea because Stardust, for as an example, like the performer, he's great. I think it was generally over, but I mean, he just hit a brick wall, and then obviously, like the person himself was over it at that point. But I mean, it could be multiple things. I guess you know what I mean.
What do you like? What do you think specifically? It could be multiple things.
Um,
Do you have like an example? Is there? So you mentioned Stardust, for example, right?
Yeah.
Like what for? If you dissected Stardust's failure, what do you think was the reason it failed?
it was just too comic booky, I guess, for the liking of Cody Rhodes, and then just overall, booking decisions, right, for that specific character. So I mean, if you're gonna have Cody Rhodes, the person, kind of fighting tooth and nail with the idea, even though he's trying to make chicken shit into chicken salad, or however that kind of goes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's gonna hit a brick wall.
Yeah. David, what do you think? What makes a wrestling gimmick fail?
So are we thinking like, man, that was terrible, and that guy had a job for 9 months, or are we thinking, damn, that was terrible, that was fast?
Dealer's choice.
All right, that was terrible, and that was fast.
Yeah.
Shockmaster, who flopped his debut
Yeah.
by tripping over a wall and then chasing down his helmet.
Yes. Yes. Why? So
I think that was
that failed because
performative.
yeah. So that failed because out of the gate, you look like a fool, right?
Right.
All
And
right. Well,
then
how
like
about how about the ones that last like like
Oz,
I guess Stardust lasted like what 3 years, something like that. 2. It lasted longer than it should have been.
yeah,
But let's say like even 9 months, 8 months, whatever. Gobbledygooker pops up multiple times. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So how about for those? What makes them fail?
I think I'll even use what was that tag team that was like greasers in like the late 2000s for
Oh,
SmackDown?
Deuce and
Deuce and
Domino.
Domino.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Domino.
See, like those are those. Now we just love how terrible they were type gimmicks, and
Yeah.
I think like where those fail is that they'd never connect, but like the performers might be okay or above average, so they're good workers. They just never connect,
Hmm.
and there's just nothing about them that connects, and I think that's like kind of like a gimmick graveyard, just like no
Yeah.
connection whatsoever. Is like who in the I mean, other than us having like other than the movie Grease, what do we like? What other like cultural relevance would that have to most people?
Yeah, other
Like
than Vince's
you know what I mean?
fascination. Yeah. Yeah, I mean like I remember when I mean like this was that period where it was like the first 2 years I like really got back into wrestling where we would go to the live events and sort of like kind of time window. And I guess I was like I thought they were okay. Like I didn't think they were terrible, I thought they had some kind of future. But, looking back, I
Like,
guess
oh
it
man,
was
those
pretty
greasers,
yeah, I mean
future world champs.
yeah, I mean it was pretty limited in terms of
I think they
success.
were
I'll
tag
say that.
champs once.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were. Yeah, and they had Cherry, they had like the girl who's roller skating and
Who wasn't a
talking about
SmackDown tag champ around that time?
I mean that's true. I mean like that's the period where like tag team championships were like it didn't matter, I
That's a
guess.
period of time in SmackDown where it's like Rey Mysterio looked to his left and he'd be like, "You're my tag partner. We're gonna win the
Yeah,
belts." And
exactly.
then
And not only SmackDown, Raw too. I mean, like they both like
right,
tag teams were non-existent. It was all about like the main event wrestlers. So didn't do them any favors. But let's see, Andre. So what do you think? What makes a wrestling? Next question.
I'm sorry, what?
What makes a wrestling gimmick fail, in your opinion?
Um, well, I would say with like I mean, if it's like a bad concept, it's just not gonna work. I don't think like even if you have a really talented wrestler behind whatever the gimmick is, it's just not gonna. If it's just not gonna resonate, and you try to keep pressuring or pushing it out into people, and it's just not going, that's a really bad idea. I mean, like what you had like who was Max Moon? That was Conan, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that was a
Yes.
I didn't. I know
Space
that was
Fighter. I don't
yeah,
know if
Buzz Lightyear.
there's like fireworks shooting out of his like arms and stuff. It
yeah.
was kind of
Yeah.
it really yeah. I think like a failing wrestling gimmick is just something that's just not gonna. I don't know. It's just I don't know. I guess something that just doesn't resonate with the crowd or resonate with the universe. Because the
Mhm.
WWE universe will tell them right away, like, "Hey, this kind of sucks."
Yeah. Sometimes
What's it?
sometimes they do put up with slop, but then your attendance record kind of reflects the lack of interest, even if it
Yeah.
seems like, you know, there's some interest in there. But yeah, you did mention Max Moon. What have you seen any of his matches with Max Moon as a
Not
character?
necessarily, but whenever I saw like bad gimmicks, that was one of the main ones that would always come up because like WWE spent so much money on that outfit alone. And I guess like he didn't want to do it either. And like Vince was like literally putting him in it and like go out there now. And he was talking about how he like first got had to do it and stuff. And I was like, oh my God. It looked bad, it sounded bad. It's just like, you know, obviously you have to experiment. You have to try different things, and if they're outlandish and stuff, and obviously a lot of them won't hit. But what makes it bad? I mean, some of them are some of them you just look at, you just know it's bad, you know. So it's hard to
Some
say.
of them is like it's like Vince McMahon is in his own creative bubble, and like it felt like, for me, it felt like people were afraid of telling him, no, this is a bad idea, and they just let him go ham
I
on a
can
lot
see
of
that.
things. And we talked in the last episode, I think, a bad gimmick. And I think, David, there was someone like in that same era. It might have been WCW. But yes, beaver cleavage was not a good gimmick.
What?
A creepy, like 1950s. I think the implication was that this adult guy who was supposed to be like Leave It to Beaver likes his mom or thinks she's hot or something like that. So there's some incest implied.
Lord.
And this is like what, late 90s? It's got to be like Attitude Era levels. So, you know, a gimmick that didn't work really well. And there's a whole list of that I had listed out.
Or the Mexicals. That was a bad
Yeah.
one.
Oh, I mean the Mexicals. Yeah. I mean, I know we had that conversation. Were they the ones that were on the line?
Yes, they're the ones on the lawnmower.
Yeah, they're the ones on the lawnmowers. So
Those
I
were
know
the guys.
yeah, I was listening to our last conversation back in October, and that was one that we brought up, but we didn't really dive too much into it. And I was curious. I don't know, David, because I've played with them on SmackDown versus Raw and that kind of stuff. But I don't know if they actually still existed when I started watching for the Mexicals. Do you remember the Mexicals when you were watching on Raw and SmackDown?
I remember them a little bit. I didn't watch much of them. Like it's kind of a hard watch after like me being the kid I was, being able to watch like Super Crazy in ECW, or even like Juventud and Psychosis in WCW, where they're putting on great matches every night, and then it's like, oh, all right, like they're still good wrestlers and they still were entertaining, but like that was pretty limited in the entertainment factor outside of the ring.
Yeah, here's a fucking lawnmower.
Juan Deers.
Start driving on a lawnmower.
Juan Deers.
They legit did that.
That is crazy work, I gotta say. Like, just really thinking about it, it's like, look, two Hispanic guys on lawnmower. Three Hispanic guys on lawnmower. Totally normal.
I mean, that was the same time as Do-Rag Vince, so it's like,
yes, you're right. I mean,
the idea is not that far off.
And also Crime Time. Like this was Crime Time was like 2 years after
Crime
that.
Time.
Like you are two men of color, let's say that, who are a tag team, and your entrance is this white guy who basically announces like, yo, check your rollies and pop a 40. It's Crime Time. And then, I mean, like, I don't know how they felt about it. And Shad Gaspar, I mean, like, he was a great, like, I feel like they made him a great singles wrestler later on. And then for whatever reason, you know, creative didn't work out. And, you know, rest in power, of course, Shad. But yeah, I mean, as a tag team, it was not great. You know, looking back, as wrestlers, they were cool. I thought that they were cool wrestlers. But if you take a step back in terms of like, you know, you got to pigeonhole them into, you know, that kind of gimmick, I feel like it's very, I feel like it's very limited in terms of the uh moving on up in the main event and that kind of stuff. You kind of pigeonhole them into like same thing like for Stardust and people like that. A bad gimmick will not give you the ability to move on into the main event. There is a so this one I'm kind of curious because for me it is on the fence if it's a good gimmick or a bad gimmick, and that's in the case of the Boogeyman. Because the Boogeyman, when he first showed up, for me, I thought he was kind of cool. It felt like a new version of the Undertaker, where it's like kind of scary. He's got the clock, he's got the worms, but then it kind of felt pretty one note. You know what I mean? Like I thought maybe they'd give him. I don't know if he's ever even held a belt or a championship. Maybe a cruiserweight. I don't know. But Chris, what did you think of the Boogeyman when he debuted? Because I think it was around the time we started watching too.
It was like 07, 08 or something like that.
Right.
Aesthetically cool, but yeah, I mean, like he was just like a one-trick pony. Like he would show up, do something freaky. You know, did he have matches? Like, did he actually have real matches?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like a pretty limited move roster, I guess, right? But obviously, I guess forgettable because the only thing that ever pops up in my mind when I think Boogeyman are just the spots where he's got the worms and he's like in some kind of a backstage segment or something like that. So his like more like horror-esque kind of stuff is more stands out more, which I mean I guess was the point. Cool design, poorly executed, I guess I would say. Like, you know, again, just like with Stardust, a lot of these characters just hit a brick wall because there's just no room to grow outside of that specifically. Which is, on the other hand, which is fine because the roster itself needs, you know, different kinds of people. Not everybody can be main event people. I was listening to me and David were listening to the All In media scrum, and Tony Khan was essentially saying something about Adam Cole, but he was saying he was likening it to like a team, and some people need to be on the bench and stuff like that, or have different roles on the roster, something to that nature, and that kind of resonated. So yeah, it makes sense.
What did that mean for Adam Cole?
Oh, he was talking about his willingness to just be wherever he was on the card, whether that was like being a contender, you know, like working the lower card, working a tag team.
Oh,
like whatever he needed out of Adam Cole is what he got out of Adam Cole.
Yeah. I mean, like Natalia kind of, I feel like Natty fits that kind of mold for like when we talk about Adam Cole, because I feel like she has been very reliable, and there are periods in her career where there is gimmick attached to her that wasn't great. Like there was this whole period of her just having a farting gimmick. Do any of you remember that? Where she just kept. So this was like, I think it was around the same time when she was having a romantic like relationship with the Great Khali because they couldn't give her anything to do. And around the same time, for whatever reason, Vince thought it'd be the funniest thing if just like kept like farting in matches or in backstage segments. And I mean, come on, like, like that's a waste of her talent, and it just yeah, like it's like giving Stardust to a Cody Rhodes. Like you're making a Neidhart, a Hart Foundation, a Hart family member, Hart gimmick. Like I feel like that's
Neidfart.
Yeah, exactly, Neidfart. That's probably what he probably just like, oh, what rhymes with heart? Fart. Let's give you a fart. Like,
well, I mean, we kind of learned he's into that.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. I guess he was just like living out his fantasies on camera. But yeah, I mean, like like Natalia, who is recently kind of trying to reinvent herself outside of WWE by going to like not GCW. Or maybe it was GCW. Which one
Yeah,
had like the
Bloodsport's part of GCW.
Bloodsport's GCW. So she's trying to be like, she calls herself the Boat, which is I think is kind of a cool gimmick because people say the GOAT, greatest of all time. She calls herself the best of all time. I think that's what Boat means. And she is trying to like just actually be like a badass. Like she knows how to do like MMA dungeon style, like actual like wrestling fighting stuff. And she's trying to bring it into her current character, but for whatever reason, like creative just doesn't have something for her right now. So she's kind of stuck with oh my god, why did I forget her name? And
Maxine.
the Alpha Maxine, thank you. I was like something. Brain fart. Speaking of farts, with Maxine. So like they're a tag team. Thinking maybe they'll try and take that kind of like bad character and just have her turn into Maxine because she's being like this nice person. So I just want her to like transplant that character that she's doing in the indies onto this current thing. But yeah, bad gimmick, farting gimmick, and that's around the same time as like Mickey James, who had like the Piggy James. I don't know if it was a necessarily a gimmick, but when she was feuding with Michelle McCool and Layla, they were making her this, this specific kind of character because apparently she was overweight. Even though if you looked at it, I'm like, she is not overweight at all. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. So, like, just another like weird, poorly timed character. Now, I guess I want to ask you guys about Kerwin White, who was a character that was, I think, was it only in 2005, David? Chavo Guerrero was Kerwin White? I think it was just
Yeah,
that
I
year.
believe so.
I don't even think it lasted a whole year, but basically it's Chavo Guerrero who had bleach blonde hair, and he is basically like impersonating like a stereotypical white guy. He was golfing. He had a sweater wrapped around his neck, and his catchphrase was, "If it ain't white, it ain't right." So
I didn't know that part. I saw like I seen like clips of him in the sweater and stuff and acting the blonde hair, but I didn't know that part though. Wow, damn.
yeah, yeah. This is 2005. So
Also
I mean, like,
leading to Durag Vince.
yeah, exactly. This is like all around that same period. I think
True.
Vince was like, I don't know, just
His Durag was on too
mind
tight.
comp or something. Yeah, Durag was on too tight. Like he was churning these out in like the 2005, 2007. So he's like, it'd be funny. I mean, I guess we're laughing, but so mission accomplished. But I mean, like, oh
All the
my
different
God,
times.
that'd be so like imagine like you're like, oh, I love watching. Then you put on like SmackDown or Raw or whatever, and shit's playing. You know what I mean? Like, how do you explain like why you enjoy watching wrestling? Oh man.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, this is my favorite part.
Yeah.
Like-
Exactly.
Like that's like if I ever encounter any kind of like troll people on on the internet and they're like talking about, oh, this is bad wrestling, I'm like, you people have no idea how spoiled like, wrestling fans are right now. Like if you compare like all these gimmicks that we're talking about, like y'all got it good, man.
Yeah, I started watching wrestling when I was in the fucking trenches, when you're like trying to enjoy the product, because like there wasn't much left there, and like a lot you really cling on to like the main event and kind of like I thought, Vince blowing himself up in a limousine was interesting, and then other things happened. And then nothing came out of that, and there was always like these kind of stories where it's like, oh, Mr. Kennedy might be like Vince's son or something like, oh, something interesting is going to happen, and then nothing comes of it. And then for me it was always like this carrot and stick thing where like something interesting is about to happen, and then it's literally like months of crap, and it just kept happening until something cool happens. That's why that CM Punk pipe bomb thing was so so powerful because like you really literally like tolerated like 6, 7, 8 years of like crap. So like hearing and seeing that kind of story was like manna, or like in a desert of shitty stories.
And then it was good for a year, and then it was back
Yeah,
to
yeah,
baloney
yes,
for the next
correct,
They're like,
eight.
we'll try it, I guess. It's like, all
correct.
right, y'all happy? Back to the bullshit.
Yeah. And during one of those era, or during that period, I mean there were some, we already talked about Hornswoggle in the past conversation. I don't know if there was anything else we wanted to pull out of the Hornswoggle conversation, but I think around that same period I was just talking about this during our commentary on Evolution, was the Funkadactyls with like, it was Brodus Clay, I think was he was the wrestler. Like they had like he had like this vignette that made him look like a badass. And I mean, I think the guy sucks now purely based on his external stuff. Now he's like a regular Fox News host, but Brodus Clay, like he had these vignettes. And he was like trying to be a badass or whatever, and then he's like debuts next week, and then he shows up in like sparkly pants, a red fedora, and Funkadactyls, and he's fucking the Funkasaurus. Like he comes out like dancing, and this is like the kind of stuff like Vince was doing with like all these guys. Like Karrion Kross was another one we talked about before, where it's like they come out from like a previous promotion, or they get built up somewhere else, and then everything else that you do going into the WWE pipeline, it disappears, and now you're a new person. You've never met or heard any of these other people before, and we're all meant to be stupid and think that nothing that happened previously happened, which, like, really think about that when we were watching during that era. Like, that's crazy shit. Like, think about how different it is now, where like literally they're talking about TNA, they're talking about New Japan, they're talking about their entire history on air. Like Michael Cole is like willingly saying this without being worried that he's gonna get like screamed and choked out by Vince McMahon afterwards because he let New Japan slip out of his mouth. Like, I mean, it's such a night and day thing. So like Chris, to your point, people who are complaining about this literally do not know how it was like even 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Literally spoiled. Like just like I think it's just too good. It's just so much dopamine. They're like, I don't even know what to do with all this. So
yeah.
more.
I mean, I think it's just like trying to find something to complain, because I think now it's like you are moving the goalpost. Now it is good, but now you're picking apart like the good stuff, like the great stuff from the good stuff. And now there's a new, like there's always something to complain about, so you got to have conversations, I guess, and debates. So now you got to debate about like the solid stuff that's happening with the great stuff, and then complain about that. So, I mean, I guess that happened. I guess nobody was around for the gobbledygooker. So, of course, that was like a teaser, I think, for Survivor Series. And there was this giant egg that kind of sitting there, and they were waiting for that shit to hatch, and then it comes out and it's some guy in a turkey costume. I mean, I think when I think of failed gimmicks, that's probably like the logo for like terrible failed gimmicks. But like, was that the point of it? Like, do you feel like was that an attempt at being a wrestler? I don't know how I would like categorize the goblin. You know what I mean? Like, was that
I
just
still
like a
put
one-off
Master
Vince
over that.
thing? Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Maybe not Gobbledygooker, maybe the Shockmaster, but are there any like gimmick graveyard characters that you actually secretly liked or thought were underrated? Kind of like how I said, like, I kind of like the Boogeyman, even though I feel like most people would think in general it's probably a shitty character. Is there anyone in your mind that was probably shitty that you kind of secretly liked?
The Hurricane.
Oh yeah.
The Hurricane's not. That wasn't. Do you think that was a shitty gimmick?
I mean, I didn't think it was shitty, but like he was a silly character.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
I guess
count?
He was
that's
over
true.
with the fans too.
I guess maybe he did have like limitations, like how far can the Hurricane go? Kind of like what was oh my god. What the hell was her name? She's currently in the Wyatt family, Wyatt Six. She had a character Ash, Nikki Ash, I think. She was also kind of like a superhero character, right?
Yeah.
Almost a superhero.
Yeah, that was the gimmick, right? Almost a superhero. So like
Oh,
my thought there
yeah.
was kind of like that was similar to the hurricane. And I feel like you can't really take that seriously. I don't think you can go when you have that kind of character. You know what I mean? Like maybe you could, but I just feel like you can't be like a Charlotte Flair or a Mercedes if you are looking like that with that kind of gimmick. You know what I mean? Like Matt, like it's not a masked wrestler. Like it's different from luchador because she's not trying to be a luchador. You know what I mean? Like it's a different thing. So yeah, I guess like Chris, what do you think? So you said the Hurricane. Is that your like gimmick graveyard character you secretly liked? Is there anyone else? I feel like Hurricane at least had some success with it too. You know.
Yeah. Come back to me. But yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean,
Big Dick
Hurricane was my.
Johnson.
Oh yeah,
Forgot about that.
yeah.
Oh my god!
Spirit
Like is that
Squad.
I thought the Spirit Squad was good as a unit, and again, like it just felt like a gag, like a running gag, and it didn't seem like there was an actual plan for them to be like catapulted into anything. They just jokes, and of course, like a handful of them ended up becoming single stars. Of course, Dolph Ziggler was like famous one who came out of it. I think Kenny Dykstra was another one who was
For
there
a
for a
little
little
bit.
bit. Yeah, he was like a single star for a little bit, and then he got the. So
I
Dolph
think he
Ziggler was
works
basically all those.
backstage.
Kenny Dykstra, really?
He did for a while, I know that's for sure.
I was a Eugene fan, I must say.
Oh yes,
Oh
yeah.
wow.
We had that conversation before about Eugene. It is. I mean, it is absolutely problematic. I mean, the guy is completely. I don't want to say functioning because people are functioning, but he is not a neurodivergent individual. I'll say that, and he's portraying someone who is, and like I said before, crayons with his letters spelled backwards on the Tron,
Yo, that theme
and
song
The
slapped,
airplane.
though. Yeah.
yeah, he had the airplane. And you said, what did you say, David? They were like making sure he doesn't like ramp or something when he's doing the airplane. I forgot who. But yeah, like that would not fly in today's wrestling at all. Absolutely not.
Festus.
Man. Oh yeah, Festus. Yeah, that's another one. Like that was crazy work too, and that was like 2007, 2008. Biscuits and gravy.
Yes.
Didn't
Yeah.
Snitsky turn into like a foot guy?
Yeah. Is this after It Wasn't My Fault, or I think it might have been around
It
when he
wasn't
like
my fault.
kicked that baby into the crowd,
Not my BB.
that rubber BB. Oh man. Okay, so let me ask you guys this as we kind of so WWE, of course, WCW and CW, and let's say AEW too. They all have gimmick flops. Do you think one company was more guilty than pushing bizarre ideas that didn't land? Because I'm gonna say Vince definitely had. I think on that shit.
I think that's going to be
cake.
the general consensus. Honestly, I think everyone's going to be like, "Yeah, no, the WWE hands down under Vince's regime."
WCW had some pretty bad ones in the early 90s.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you had Oz was
And
you had-
the early 2000s with Russo. You can't forget about
Oh.
Fat Chick Thriller
No.
Mike Awesome.
Oh
yeah.
man,
Rest in
no, I
peace.
forgot about that. Yeah. Oh, shit.
Rest in peace, Mike Awesome. He didn't deserve that.
No, no, sir.
Forgot about-
Like, there's a lot of 2000s WCW that is like,
That's true. Metal
hey,
Gear
the
Solid
guy
1
from Jerry
Mercedes.
Springer wrote this. What do you think? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
duh.
exactly. Jesus, no kidding.
Like, oh my god, like we got to make a post like to like prove that point, like about like wrestling then, wrestling now. Like, so
Oh
we
my
got to do
God.
something like that where it's just like,
Yeah, just
all
some
right,
like cold water on like you guys are playing.
mhm.
Okay, so wait, was the Yeti WWE or WCW? Or was it an ECW character? The Yeti. Bear hugged Hulk Hogan, so it would have to have been.
The Yeti
I think it was
was WCW.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I
The
mean, like,
Yeti,
yeah,
the mummy.
like you said, to your point, they also had their like Arachnoman. Um, was Mantar was
WWE.
yeah
Beast
Mantar
Mordos.
more yeah
Yeah, pretty much.
basically like Evolution 1 Beast
Stupid
Mortals.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
He was pretty badass. I don't know what you're talking about.
Mantar is like Charmander. Beast Mortos, I think, is our figure out Charmeleon.
Chameleon, Chameleonaire.
I got you a chameleon, son.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean they also had Arachnoman. Mordecai, so he was like an anti-Undertaker, kind of. I mean, that was another WWE thing, right?
Yeah.
Waylon Mercy was kind of like early version of Bray Wyatt. That didn't work out. Kizarny, I mean, that's another WWE speak, of course. And he only showed
Oh,
up. I feel like
was he the
he
pirate
like
guy? Who was the pirate guy?
Paul
no,
Burchill.
that's
Yeah,
Paul
that guy
Burchill.
was badass. Yeah, I like that guy. Or
That guy,
Jimmy
yeah,
Wang Yang. Woo!
yeah, that guy
Asian
was
redneck.
cool. Oh
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
Jimmy Wang Yang. Yeah, I mean like that. I mean, I think objectively that wasn't, but I did enjoy him at first. So like that's like a bad gimmick that I actually enjoy.
Oh yeah.
What's that one?
Jamie Noble.
Jamie Noble, yeah.
Jamie
That
Noble
one.
was all like trailer trash or something.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
I
one
mean
that
I
was
also appreciated Jamie Noble too. I thought good. Even
that
though
one gimmick where the guy would just party all the time and he had a whole like
oh, the
people who.
Rosebuds, Adam
Yeah.
Cole.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
also
good.
not I mean like also not a great game. Like if we're just thinking about like, all right, how shit take us, it's probably not going to go that far.
Nope.
But I kind of enjoyed it, you know, like
No Way Jose.
No Way Jose is another one. Oh, let me ask you guys this. Like for that's not an AEW one, is it? No.
What?
No Way Jose.
No, that was NXT/WWE
Yeah.
in
Is
like
there
14, 15.
is there an AEW? Can you think of a gimmick in AEW that didn't go well? Hologram, I guess. But like, is there one like
No,
from
hologram's
AEW?
fine.
Is there one in AEW that hasn't
Abaddon.
worked?
Nah, she was okay.
I said Tony buries them pretty quick from our memory when they come out.
Yeah. I guess there wasn't too many in AEW.
There's there. They have to be there. They're there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I just can't think of it right now.
They're buried away.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mentioned or David, you made a joke of it. The Goon, which I
Yeah.
think in the 90s didn't work, but I think in today's like lexicon of words that we use in our
That'd be
urban
hilarious.
zeitgeist, that would be hilarious because
He should look
people
like a
use the word
wrestling
goon.
fan.
Yes, exactly. Like you don't do hockey and you're not a
Uh-oh.
but it's still
Yeah.
the same guy called the Goon. Um and that would be kind of funny.
They should just have like the camera when he comes out, like just like zoom in on a random wrestling fan in the crowd, and then just put the goon under it. But it's always somebody different.
Yeah, he comes out like when it's not like televised, and they be like, "All right, which one are you, Gooner?" Like that, they have the Kiss Cam and the DX camera. They got it.
Goon Cam.
The Goon Cam.
Oh, we're about to get flagged.
All right. Well, let me wrap. I'm not gonna end it on, but so like the 3-man
Bret Hart.
Huh?
Save us, Bret Hart.
Bret Hart.
There you go. Fixed.
We're good.
Bret Hart. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3-man band. Like I feel like as a gimmick, it
Terrible.
was clearly terrible. It wasn't great, but I feel like I kind of like would love to see them back together. Like having them having them packaged differently would be kind of fun. Like if they were still 3-man band, I don't know, like having that history, because you know how crazy and stupid it is, but now taking them all three seriously, but having like the theme song, I think I would get a kick out of that shit. And I think they were just at, was it Ginger's wedding?
Yep.
I think it was at Ginger Mahal's wedding, but they did like a little reunion 3-man band. Like they have a special place in their heart for 3MB. And I do too. And of course they were jobbers. They were comedy jobbers. You weren't supposed to take them seriously. And of course, I mean, I think
Great performers.
Yeah, great performers, great wrestlers. I mean, Jinder got his WWE Championship run after that for a little bit. I mean, people were giving him shit, but whatever. And Drew McIntyre, of course, became
Heath Slater has a family.
Character, and Heath Slater has a family, but it's one of those gimmicks that I think probably belong in, but I still appreciate it and appreciate the 3 wrestlers in it. But I think that is a wrap for this episode of the Chi-Town Shoot podcast. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate us, and leave your feedback. Tune in next time for more Wrestling Madness. Until then, keep marking out.